Part 6. Transformed into a comic book artist. Author, Miao by Shen Wu. Chapter 52. At noon on the third day, Susianer, who was playing games, received a call from Chen Shui. You and Jingshu are both at home. Come to Bilibili to talk about the contract. What, have you settled the deal? Susianer was shocked. She said that the shares were just casual. As a mature company, Bilibili's shares were in the hands of senior executives. How could it be released unless it was absolutely necessary? So when she said this, she actually didn't want to be a station girl. After all, Bilibili was her permanent website in the previous life. When the time comes, she will promote the major painting styles as a wonderful writer. Then, using the painting style as a radiation, act will develop independently, and Bilibili does not need to find anyone at all. I am a three-dimensional station girl. Of course, this time may take a long time, 10 or 20 years. This was the laziest way Susianer, a lazy person, came up with. At that time, she was still in her 30s and could still watch the show, which was not a loss at all. Station B still has a special meaning in Susianer's heart, otherwise she would not have wanted to work at Station B in her previous life. The most important thing is that the two-dimensional station girl has an ageless appearance. As long as Station B does not collapse, she will always be 22 and 33, but people will age. Think about it, when she and Lin Jingshu were in their 70s and 80s, a group of naughty kids pointed at them, wow, they are 22 and 33. Can't bear to look at it. This was simply a huge ridicule, so Susianer wouldn't think about becoming a station girl, but Lin Jingshu wanted to be one, and she didn't want to offend him, so she came up with this idea, casually asking for 100% of the money. 20 shares. And that's not all, she also asked Chen Shui to help Lin Jingshu win shares, otherwise she would not be a station girl. But now Chen Shui told her that Station B agreed. Are shares really free? My Hoyo is the same, Station B is the same, it's all like this? It's a deal, but you are 8% and Jingshu is 2%. Of course, neither of you has the decision-making power of the company and can only share the same dividend as my Hoyo, Chen Shui said sarcastically. I don't know how difficult the people at Station B are, but I won it by exposing all your identities. Okay, I won't say more. Come over with Jingshu quickly. No one has seen you yet. Check the goods. After a long time, Susianer said quietly, can't we just take a photo and go there? I still need to cosplay, take photos, and set up the image of you two. How can I do it if you don't come over? Chen Shui said speechlessly. Okay, I won't say anything anymore. I'll just wait for you two. Come over quickly. I'll give you my mobile phone address. Send it. After saying that, he hung up the phone. Susianer covered her face, she seemed to have lost her temper. After getting off the chair, she went to the window and opened the curtains. Under the sunlight, Susianer felt as if her whole body was about to soar. Aren't you looking for death if you go out in this weather? Student Su, Sister Chen just called us and asked us to go to Station B company quickly. Depend on. Chen Shui made it clear that she did not believe in Susianer's ability to act, so after notifying Susianer, she thought about it and called Lin Jingshu and asked the other party to pull Susianer over quickly. Seeing Lin Jingshu's excited expression, Susianer opened her mouth, and finally could only say, I'll change my clothes. Seeing Susianer in her pajamas, Lin Jingshu nodded with high spirits, I'll change clothes too. Alas, it's your own fault. Seeing the other party's cheerful appearance, Susianer recognized it. When Susianer put on her usual sportswear, she went to Lin Jingshu's room and found that she was still struggling with clothes. She couldn't help but remind her, just choose any outfit. I guess the company at Station B will have to design clothes for us. That's right, Lin Jingshu suddenly realized, and then picked a circle. Seeing Lin Jingshu suddenly getting entangled again, Susiener got drunk and pointed to the clothes next to her, "Just wear your school uniform, there's no need to be so entangled." Susiener's high school uniforms are similar to the uniforms in the previous life anime, but the skirts are not short skirts, but long skirts. So Susiener felt that school uniforms were more beautiful than ordinary private clothes, which was why she went to class before. Of course, she wouldn't wear them, after all, they were skirts. Back in time, she never wore school uniforms or skirts when she went to school, because skirts would make her lower body feel leaky, which made her extremely uncomfortable. As a mentally healthy person, how could she wear skirts? She didn't have a cross-dressing fetish. Okay, Lin Jingshu didn't hesitate too much. She followed Susiener's suggestion and directly took off and dressed in front of the other party. Susiener watched with wide eyes. Although she had already seen most of Lin Jingshu's body, it was a visual pleasure for a girl to take off her clothes and put on clothes. Moreover, she found that Lin Jingshu's figure was not ordinary. When Lin Jingshu put on her school uniform and saw Susiener staring at her blankly, she couldn't help but curiously asked, "What's wrong?" "It's nothing." Susiener coughed lightly and said, "By the way, have you thought about it? When will you wear the 2 high-quality battle uniforms I gave you?" Lin Jingshu's face suddenly turned red and she glared at Susiener. "I'm not ready yet." In fact, she wanted to put it on every time in the past few nights, but she was too ashamed inside, so she always let it go in the end. But thinking about Susiener's new song, she was very confused. As a result, Lin Jingshu is still in infinite tangle. Seeing this, Susiener didn't urge her. Training is a long-term task. After Lin Jingshu changed her clothes, Susiener picked up her cell phone and called Didi for a taxi, and the two went straight out. When the two came to the door of Magic City Huandian Information Technology Co., Limited, Lin Jingshu was pulled into the front door of the company by Susiener before she could stand and observe. "It's so hot, what kind of weather is this?" Susiener's face was sunburned and she looked unhappy. And Lin Jingshu complained, "You know it's summer and you're still wearing sports shirts and trousers. It's strange if it's not hot." Then Lin Jingshu looked at the small TV and the words "Billy Billy" behind the front desk inside the door, and pulled Susiener into the door excitedly. Air conditioning is simply the greatest invention of mankind. As soon as she entered the door, Susiener was conquered by the cold air and stood directly under the air conditioner. Lin Jingshu rolled her eyes and saw that she couldn't pull the other party, so she had to go to the front desk to ask. "Little sister, do you need any help?" The receptionist saw Lin Jingshu coming forward and asked with a smile, with surprise in her eyes. After all, it is rare to see a girl as beautiful as Lin Jingshu. "It's like this, she and I are here to apply for the position of B-Station girl," Lin Jingshu answered, pointing to Susiener who was enjoying herself under the air conditioner. "Are you Susiener?" The receptionist looked at Lin Jingshu with shining eyes. As the receptionist of B-Station, although she could not be considered a pure internal member, the B-Station girl was selected from within the company. But no one could meet the requirements. After all, the initial setting of 2233 girl was a girl image, but everyone came out to work, how could it be a girl? So the company's senior management said that if there were beautiful girls in the relatives' families, they could be pulled over to apply for the job. Unfortunately, no one has appeared until now. The sudden appearance of Shuabai a few days ago gave B-Station hope. The music MV exceeded 100 million hits. This was a historic moment for B-Station. Thanks to teacher Shuabai, B-Station employees were also given a considerable bonus, which made everyone very happy. So when they learned that Shuabai and Jingshu were going to be B-Station girls and that their appearance had been confirmed to be good, the people at B-Station were very excited. After all, Shui Jingjushi and the other two have reached 30 million followers on Weibo. If we look at it from the perspective of the entertainment industry, they are already considered second-tier stars. It's just that no one has seen the two of them, so they are very curious. Now when she saw Lin Jingshu, the receptionist was sure that the girl in front of her was Susianer. After all, the other party's temperament was gentle and quiet, which was in line with the image of Shui Bai in her mind. Then, that I am not Susianer, I am Lin Jingshu. Lin Jingshu heard the words and corrected carefully, then pointed at Susianer and said, she is Susianer. As she said that, without waiting for the receptionist to be surprised, she called Susianer to come over. Come on, can't you let me blow for a while? Susianer heard it, moved very slowly, and came over like that. The receptionist stared at Susianer, who was coming slowly. Her eyes had already turned into a heart shape, and she couldn't help shouting, so cute. Transformed into a comic book artist. Author, Miao by Sheng Wu. Chapter 53. In this era of internet explosion, the eyes of people all over the world are being baptized every day. Beautiful women, handsome men, ugly women, fat men, bamboo poles, lusican. There are all kinds of monsters and demons on the internet. As the receptionist of Bilibili, Xiao Qin sees enough people every day. As a member who likes to wander on the internet, she is immune to handsomeness and beauty. There are beautiful women and handsome men in the entertainment industry all the time, and there is no shortage of hype, such as the most beautiful woman in 40,000 years and a handsome man once in 50,000 years. She is numb. It can be said that she thinks that even if a beautiful woman is placed in front of her, she will be amazed at most, like when she saw Lin Jingshu just now, but she will not be too excited. However, Xiao Qin found that she was wrong, and she was very wrong. When she saw Susianer, she realized that her previous concept of beauty, pretty, exquisiteness and cuteness was wrong. Her hair was fluffy and soft, and it was mischievously curled up because it had not been trimmed for a long time. Her long hair was casually draped over her shoulders. In addition, she was wearing sportswear in the summer. It was obvious that the little girl in front of her was not very good at dressing herself up. However, when the other party came over with a leisurely pace and looked at her with her face raised, Xiao Qin saw Susianer's full appearance. Flawless, cute. The moment these three words appeared in Xiao Qin's mind, her eyes turned into a heart shape. What appeared in Xiao Qin's eyes was a flawless and delicate oval face like a porcelain doll, with skin as white as cream, face as white as jade, a pair of slightly narrow and long phoenix eyes, eyes flowing, clear eyes like water. The nose was delicate and straight, and the pink lips were like cherry blossoms, which made people want to take a bite. However, on such a flawless face, its owner had a lazy expression that was always drowsy. The full sense of contrast made the other party's cuteness explode. In addition, Xiao Qin estimated that Susianer was only about 1.5 meters tall. This girl who looked like a big loli suddenly appeared in front of her, and in such a decadent and lazy way, she couldn't help but shout, "So cute, can I rub your face?" "Yes." "Are you sick?" "Of course not." However, Xiao Qin had come to Susianer's side after hearing Lin Jingshu's response of yes, and stretched out her hands. Without waiting for Susianer to step back, she directly picked her up, feeling Susianer's soft body, and rubbed her face directly on her. So happy, Xiao Qin was very moved. She had always had no resistance to cute things, and now seeing Susianer, a girl who seemed to have walked out of a painting, she couldn't restrain herself at all. Moreover, Susianer was the teacher she had always admired. When these two were applied to Susianer, Xiao Qin directly became a die-hard fan of Susianer. "I'll hold you up." "Are you poisonous?" "Put me down." Susianer struggled hard, but found desperately that she couldn't break free with her little strength. "I must exercise after I go back this time." Susianer thought bitterly in her heart, otherwise she would have to be passive every time she was violated, which was not in line with her character at all. And Lin Jingshu kept laughing beside her. In fact, every time Susianer was in front of her, She also wanted to rub against her or hug her, after all, she was so cute. This is why Susianer always asked her for material, and she did not refuse. Like Xiaoqin, she could not resist the cute request. In the end, Xiaoqin did not really hold the other party upstairs, but reluctantly put Susianer down, and then led the two upstairs with a perverted look. Susianer had a tense face and was very unhappy, especially Lin Jingshu next to her kept laughing, which made her snort at Lin Jingshu. Wait. Lin Jingshu obviously did not feel her terror. Today, she cooperated with an outsider to make trouble for her. Susianer will definitely retaliate in the future. A few minutes later, the two were taken to the chairman's office. Xiaoqin knocked on the door and left when she heard the sound inside the door. Just when Lin Jingshu was nervous, Susianer pushed the door open and walked in. As soon as she entered the room, Susianer saw several people sitting on the sofa in the office. There were two people she was familiar with, such as Suyi from Yu-Gi-Oh and Chen Rui from Rokeo. Of course, she was familiar with them, but others were not familiar with her. Or when Susianer stepped into the office, everyone else stared at him blankly. Chen Shui waved her hand and said directly, "Come here quickly." This voice made others react. A middle-aged man with a side parting, wearing metal-framed glasses and a lively look said in surprise, "You two are Shuabai and Jingshu, right?" Others reacted and stared at Susianer with joy on their faces. Before Susianer came, Chen Shui told them a lot of things, saying how beautiful Susianer was, but unfortunately the other party couldn't even produce a photo, so they naturally didn't believe it. Finally, Chen Shui was so angry that she could only call Susianer and Lin Jingshu to ask them to come over. Now Chen Shui saw the faces of the crowd and couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. "I let you underestimate me, but now I am stunned by my beauty." As the current chairman of Huandian Information Technology, Chen Rui controls Bilibili, but he has been worried about the development of Bilibili in recent years. As the first website in the world to create barrage, Bilibili was amazing at first. Unfortunately, due to the simplicity of the barrage program, almost every website has developed barrage, and even more major live broadcast platforms have also used the barrage mode. But as the first website to try it out, Bilibili still has a lot of attention. However, the initial positioning of Bilibili was ACK, which is regrettable. Those who know this industry know that the ACK industry is a stagnant pool of water, and whoever touches it will die. At the beginning, Chen Rui was just an investor, and he was also an ACK enthusiast. He was optimistic about the development of Bilibili, but now it is disappointing. He has been a business consultant for Bilibili. After Cheetah Mobile went public, he jumped to Bilibili and officially joined Bilibili as a partner. He has served as the chairman of Bilibili ever since. It was only when Chen Rui really took the position that he found that it was difficult to develop Bilibili into an ACK website. Too difficult. Because of the style of the comics, the overall number of people in the ACK circle is very small, and there are even fewer people who like the second dimension. The most sad thing is that everyone knows ACK from comic exhibitions. Although the development of ACK in this world is extremely slow, there are still many people who love the second dimension, and comic exhibitions are held for these people. Compared with the muscle style of the second dimension, the cosplay of ACK enthusiasts is more pleasing to the eye, because the three-dimensional people are more in line with people's aesthetic style, so many people enter the second dimension circle from the comic exhibition. In the past, comic exhibitions were just derivative activities of ACK, but in this world, they have become a crucial part of the development of the ACK circle. It has to be said that it is a kind of irony. In this era of barrage, Chen Rui knows that if it continues like this, B Station will sooner or later be a pill, and the current position of B Station is very embarrassing. If ACK cannot develop, then B Station will not be able to rise. Although the popularity of the music circle, animation area, ghost animal area and other sections is not low, they are too mixed. As a website positioned as ACK, it must rely on these sections to maintain popularity, which makes Chen Rui unbearable. This is putting the cart before the horse. Now people mention B Station as the ghost animal area and music area. As for the animation, who watches it? Domestic animation dramas are all muscle style, which is unpleasant, which has led to the major animation production companies becoming more and more perfunctory and shoddy. But not long ago, a person gave Chen Rui hope. That person was Miobi, who debuted as a comic book artist and created a new style of painting. And Chen Rui was attracted by Miobi's style of painting. As a senior ACK artist and chairman of Bilibili, Chen Rui could see at a glance that Miobi's style of painting might soon become popular all over the country. This is a general trend and irreversible. So before this style of painting becomes popular all over the country, he must let Miobi notice Bilibili and let the 2 episodes of Suxian series be made into a live-in and released on Bilibili first. How to do it? Of course, it is to attract Miobi's attention. As for how to attract Miobi's attention, Chen Rui had been thinking about it before, until the appearance of Shuabai made him see the signs. The station girl of Bilibili had a Q version image a few years ago, but it has not been finalized because the comic and 3D images have not been finalized, so it has been dragged on. But if they can contact Miobi, pay him to design comic-style illustrations, build a relationship, and find Shuabai and Jingshu, 2 people who became famous overnight, to be fans, B Station may become more famous in a short time. Then, as long as they use this name to find Miobi, the chances of the other party's live-in being released first on B Station will increase greatly. As long as Miobi's live-in is released first on B Station, as the creator of the style, other cartoonists who imitate Miobi's style will naturally choose B Station as their first choice for live-in under the psychology of following idols. Chen Rui's idea is to develop B Station with live-in first, and when Miobi's style affects the entire comic circle and the orthodox comics begin to show their power, he will continue to produce the original version, and then develop B Station into the center of ACK in the country. However, when he just learned from Chen Shui that Shuabai was Miobi, he was stunned, and then he was ecstatic. So when Chen Rui met Susienur, he knew that as long as the contract was negotiated this time, the general trend would be successful. And the key point of everything lies in Susienur. Seeing that some friends mentioned that the protagonist's money came too easily, I will explain it here to avoid confusion among the students behind. The setting of this world should be known to everyone who reads the article. The reason why MiHoYo gave shares is that Susienur's painting style is unique in the world, and the initiative to give shares is to keep her. After all, there is a difference between Q-version games and 3D games. When the whole world is full of Q-version mobile games, suddenly a 3D mobile game appears, and it is still the top of the picture. Just imagine how popular Honkai Impact 3 will be. For those who have not played Honkai Impact 3, you can Baidu the picture of Honkai Impact 3. Of course, it is strongly recommended not to get into the pit. And the chapter that B Station gave shares almost explained that if B Station does not seek change, it will be a pill. At that time, although B Station will not go bankrupt, its market share will be occupied and it will only become a small station. What value will the shares have? It is better to cooperate with Susienur. With the most beautiful girl in the world as the fangirl, and the already popular Susienur, when the time comes to promote B Station, coupled with the Susien series comics, do you think B Station can become popular? Not to mention, after Susienur becomes a shareholder, she will definitely not let B Station finish its game. That's all. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transformed into a comic book artist. Author, Miao by Shen Wu. Chapter 54. Susienur listened to Chen Rui's question, then looked at the other person and found that the other person was no different from the previous life. Looking at Suyi sitting on the sofa, Her eyes were filled with curiosity. She remembered that after Chen Rui took control of Station B, Suyi sold the shares and left after raising money at Station B. Why is he still here now? However, Susiener suddenly understood when she thought that the current Bilibili was different from the previous life. It was backward in development and the market was not optimistic about Bilibili. How could a group come to raise funds? Yes, Susiener is a pen, and I am Jingshu. Lin Jingshu saw Chen Rui asking questions, but Susiener didn't respond, which made the other party feel embarrassed, so she couldn't help but responded quickly. Chen Shui, on the other hand, secretly gave a thumbs up. Just now, the chairman looked domineering, but now he was not obediently trying to flatter Susiener. The other party was frustrated, which made her feel better. It seems that this little guy can not only make himself angry, but also make others extremely embarrassed. Please sit down, both of you. Chen Rui's face didn't look strange at all. From the first moment he saw Susiener, he knew that he had to let her join Station B. With the addition of the two nicknames Shui Bai and Miao Bai after that, coupled with Susiener's good looks, he knew that the other party would be popular. Of course, although they saw Susiener's lazy appearance, they didn't say anything about it. After all, the other party was a 17-year-old girl, so they still wanted to reprimand the other party for improper dress. When Susiener and Lin Jingshu sat down, Chen Rui smiled and said calmly, since the brush teacher is here, the contract should naturally be finalized. According to what we just discussed with Miss Chen, Susiener holds 8% of the shares, while Lin Jingshu holds 2%. Of course, you must serve as Station B's mother. When necessary, you must also cooperate with some important publicity activities of Station B. Of course, sometimes you must also, if there is a live broadcast on Station B, if there is new original music, it must be first released on Station B. If the Susien series you drew by Mr. Shuabai is to be produced, when Station B bids and other websites want to wait, B must be given priority. Stand. Although Chen Rui had just talked with Chen Shui, but now that Susiener was here, he explained what he had talked about before in detail. Like Susiener. Listening to a lot of demands, Susiener's face turned dark. She glared at Chen Shui and whispered, "Is this the contract you negotiated?" Chen Shui said helplessly, "You don't know that just now they asked you to come to every Magic City comic exhibition and cosplay to cooperate with promotional activities. Then I thought about the frequency of Magic City comic exhibition. Based on your temperament, I probably won't come. So I refused. There were also some requests, such as hosting 2233's little show at Station B, but I didn't agree to it. I couldn't talk about the rest. Anyway, the live broadcast can be done on at home, you don't have to run away. If you still have requests, you can tell Director Chen. The contract hasn't been signed anyway, I'm just in charge of negotiating, don't you have all the decision-making power?" Chen Rui smiled on the side and did not disturb the private chat between the two. Suyi, on the other hand, has been watching from the side without saying a word. However, Chen Rui had been observing Susiener and found that the other party showed dissatisfaction on his face, thinking about how to persuade him. As a result, before Chen Rui could speak, Susiener thought for a while, looked at Lin Jingshu sitting next to her and asked, "Jingshu, what do you think?" Although Lin Jingshu really wanted to be Station B's mother, seeing Susiener acting like this, she was obviously dissatisfied with these conditions, and she also felt that if these conditions were agreed to, the two of them might be very busy. But the two of them are college entrance examination students. If they agree, what will happen to the college entrance examination? She doesn't want to join Station B because of her hobby and then fail the college entrance examination. Isn't this putting the cart before the horse? Seeing the other party's expression, before Lin Jingshu could say anything, Susiener knew what was going on. She looked at Chen Rui and said, "We may not be suitable for the task of being Station B, so after thinking about it, I won't bother you." "Ah, Chen Rui was dumbfounded for a moment. He was still waiting for Susianer to have a good talk with him. After all, the so-called contract was just a matter of talking, with both parties convincing each other with their opinions. In the end, Susianer stopped playing without saying a word. Teacher Shuabai, maybe the requirements of Station B are too heavy for you, but everything is negotiable. Although Chen Rui was anxious, he said with a smile on his face, that's what the so-called business negotiation is. There is nothing that cannot be said at the negotiation table. If you have any requirements, you can say it and we will consider it carefully. We are still high school students, senior year. Susianer said this without saying anything else. Chen Rui understood instantly. The college entrance examination was only 7 or 8 months away. If they still wanted to participate in activities at Station B in more than half a year, what would happen to Susianer and Lin Jingshu's college entrance examination? That's it. Chen Rui breathed a sigh of relief, and then smiled. What do you mean, Mr. Shuabai? I'll design the image of a site girl for you, and then you can release your music on Site B. After all, the copyright belongs to me. Site B has a special meaning in Susianer's heart, because it was Site B that let her live in her previous life. The reason why she knows some skills is because of Bilibili. Like Lin Jingshu, she also has special feelings for Bilibili, but she is so lazy. How can she participate in any activities, but other promotional activities? I'm usually very busy, so I don't have time to participate. Naturally, I can't put the cart before the horse just for the shares of Station B, and even if I draw a book, I'm afraid I'll get more than the annual dividends from Station B, right? Although these words made Chen Rui feel uncomfortable, he nodded helplessly. Teacher Shuabai, the book you drew has indeed become popular in the comics circle. I also have friends in the comics circle, and they also revealed to me your monthly income. Teacher Shuabai, as long as you keep updating, you can keep it at around 500,000 yuan. Compared with the dividends at Station B, the salary for drawing books is indeed higher. Chen Rui said with a wry smile, well, if it's an event, you too can participate if you want to. If you don't want to, Station B won't force it. Other conditions can also be cancelled. After all, the college entrance examination is the main thing. But for the live broadcast, 2 people will be invited. If you can agree, the shares will still be 8% and 2%, I don't know what you want. Although he was asking the two of them, Chen Rui still looked at Susianer. After all, Chen Shui was the other party's assistant, while Lin Jingshu looked at Susianer in a daze and didn't know what to think. The reason why Chen Rui is struggling with the issue of live broadcasting is entirely because he saw the blowout of the live broadcast industry. Du has 55 Kai Dian Shi and the recently rising Wuhu Decima, and Panda has PDD as its top brother. These few people can support the existence of a live broadcast website. If Susianer can live broadcast at Station B and provide traffic for the website, it is what Chen Rui dreams of. Live broadcast? What's the live broadcast? Susianer said, I usually don't sing when I'm not in the mood. How about the live drawing book? What? Susianer was dumbfounded. The Chen Rui in front of her was actually better at playing than her. But after thinking about it for a moment, it seemed quite interesting, so she nodded. If you are not afraid of the website being blocked, I can live broadcast this. The others looked at the two people in confusion. They did not expect that the chairman of Station B would be so, following the trend, and Susianer actually agreed. Don't worry, Chen Rui smiled slightly, then looked at Su Yuda. Now that we have agreed, let Mr. Su allocate 10% of the shares. Okay, Su Yi said calmly, after the contract is signed, remember to transfer the 25% of the shares to my account tomorrow. Nature. Susianer was listening to the two people talking, and her eyes suddenly lit up. Are you talking about the share transfer? That's right, Mr. Su, you will be a shareholder of Station B in the future, and you can also know some things. Mr. Su has been busy recently, so he plans to withdraw from the director circle, and 25% of Mr. Su's shares were bought by me. Just waiting for the contract to be signed, 10% of the money will be transferred to you from Mr. Su's name, Chen Rui said bluntly with a smile, without hiding anything. Then can I buy his shares? Su Xian'er pointed at Su Yi, her eyes bright. Congratulations to Su Xian'er for becoming the majority shareholder of Station B. Congratulations. Rui Chaopil, the immortal dynasty is here to stay. The forces of cultivating immortals are taking advantage of the situation to rise. Funny. Please vote for recommendation OVO. Transformed into a comic book artist. Author, Miao by Shen Wu. Chapter 55. In her previous life, Su Xian'er became a otaku because of Bilibili, so when she graduated from college, she wanted to work at Bilibili very much. Unfortunately, she didn't get the job, or because of her personality, she was rejected during the interview. In this world, she found that Bilibili had not been able to develop because of the ACK circle, but she still wanted to follow the ACK path, and now she had no choice but to find another way out. As for why Su Yi withdrew from the board of directors, Su Xian'er estimated that the situation was similar to that in her previous life. In her previous life, Su Yi paved the way for his profit process through a series of means such as viral marketing, planting spies, inducing and coercing, controlling public opinion, and hiring water armies, and then used the construction of the two-dimensional co-prosperity circle as a just reason for these actions, which aroused the resonance of a large number of Japanese comic fans and unconditional defense of Su Yi, leading to his resignation, and then Chen Rui took over the position. In the current situation, Su Xian'er felt that it might not be because of the ACK circle, but it might also be related to Su Yi himself. She didn't expect that her joining would see Su Yi leave, and he even quit as the station master. Therefore, she naturally didn't want to take just a few shares. She wanted to become a major shareholder of Bilibili. She didn't need any say, just a share of the money. When the time came, she would lead the rhythm of the painting style, ACK would develop, and she would sit at home and wait for Bilibili to take off. After that, she would have no worries about food and clothing for the rest of her life. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Chen Rui was surprised when he heard Su Xian'er's words. Student Su, are you sure? Bilibili's current situation is actually not good. In front of major domestic video sites, Bilibili is not as good as other video sites in all aspects except for being the first site to develop barrage, and it can be said that it is surrounded by strong enemies. Ikiyi, Youku, Tencent Video, have almost won over audiences across the country, and now Bilibili can still survive among so many video sites, which is actually a problem of the site's positioning. Bilibili is the center of the ACK circle, which is the positioning of Bilibili, which is completely different from other video sites. This is also the reason why Bilibili is still struggling, because it has a group of fans in the ACK circle supporting it, and many up-hosts are still injecting videos into Bilibili, as well as the support of some viewers who like music area, dance area, ghost animal area, etc. But all this cannot change the fact that the ACK circle is becoming more and more sluggish, and more people have withdrawn from this circle, because they can't feel the future of ACK. It's better to watch TV series, movies, etc. At this time, Chen Rui was actually very resistant to accepting Su Yi's shares, which meant that most of the risks of Bilibili in the future would need to be borne by him, and although Su Xian'er's appearance gave him hope of rising, all this was just a plan. No one knows what the future will be like, what will happen, and whether the plan will go according to his plan. Everything is unknown, so other shareholders dare not accept Su Yi's shares at all. And Su Yi was sidelined by him, and now he insisted on leaving, and Chen Rui didn't want to see him on Bilibili anymore, so he simply gritted his teeth and planned to accept the other party's shares, so as to avoid more troubles, and let Su Yi continue to stay on Bilibili. He was not very reassured. As a result, today Su Xian'er wanted to buy Su Yi's shares. To be honest, although he was surprised that the other party wanted to take over, he did not want to refuse, because the future of Bilibili was very bleak. After thinking for a long time, Chen Rui slowly asked, "Student Su, I need a reason that can convince me." Su Yi's previous actions made him much more cautious in choosing allies. "Because I like Bilibili." Hearing this, Chen Rui was stunned for a moment, and even Su Yi next to him was stunned for a moment. A few seconds later, Chen Rui smiled and stretched out his hand and said, "Welcome to Bilibili." Seeing this, Su Xian'er also knew that the other party agreed. She was originally considering that if the other party did not agree, then forget it, but she did not expect that he really agreed. It seems that some of the comments on the internet in the previous life are still credible. Chen Rui was a hardcore Bilibili user in the early days, that is, he loved Bilibili, so he finally became a partner of Bilibili, and now he is the chairman. After shaking hands with the other party, Su Xian'er was rarely excited, because she realized her dream in her previous life. Now she not only joined Bilibili, but also became a shareholder of Bilibili. After the matter was settled, the contract was signed. Chen Rui had someone draft the contract before. He handed the contract to Su Xian'er from the desk and said, "This is the share transfer contract between you two, Su and Lin. If Su wants to acquire the remaining 15%, he needs to draft another contract. As for the 15% of shares, Mr. Su and I have already negotiated it. 25% is 6 million. Of course, this 10% is the condition for you to join Station B, but you need to pay 3.6 million for the remaining 15%. When Su Xian'er heard 3.6 million, her body froze. She was so excited just now that she forgot that she was still a poor person. Seeing Su Xian'er suddenly confused, Chen Rui joked, "Student Su, you can't come up with that much money now, right?" Then he saw the other party nod. Chen Rui was stunned, he didn't expect it to be true, thought for a while and said, "How about this, I will keep the shares for you, I will advance the money for you, but you must pay the money within half a year, otherwise the 15% shares will be regarded as you automatically give up." Ah, this time, even Lin Jingshu, who has never understood business, was surprised, not to mention Chen Shui and Su Xian'er next to her. They all began to doubt whether Chen Rui was a philanthropist. How could a company chairman be like this? Buy shares for you first, put them aside, and pay for them in half a year? Seeing Su Xian'er and the other two were surprised, Chen Rui smiled and said, "It's like this. I heard that classmate Su seemed to have participated in this year's comic rookie competition." Su Xian'er nodded. "As far as I know, the copyright of the comics in this comic rookie competition is all in the hands of cartoonists." Chen Rui paused, sorted out his thoughts and said, "It just so happens that our company has an animation production team. If your comics are out, can you hand over the participating comics to B Station for exclusive production?" As early as 2 years ago, B Station actually had the idea of making its own animations, because the current animation production companies are all shoddy and fool around, so as the center of the act circle, B Station naturally does not want to see this industry decline, so it organized an animation production team within the company. Unfortunately, after they made the animation, they found out that it was not that the animation production companies did not work hard, but that people did not like the current comic style at all. Therefore, no matter how exquisite the animation was, only a few people would watch it, and it was not popular at all, so they just fooled around and finished it. Now the animation production team of Bilibili is still working, but they are usually abandoned there, doing Q-version small theaters and the like when they have nothing to do, which is extremely sad. The reason why Chen Rui said that he would help Su Xian'er first was that he had confidence in the other party. He did not dare to think about the Su Xian series. "I am afraid that Tencent Animation will not let go of the series, after all, Tencent has priority." But Chen Rui naturally wanted to take the initiative to make Su Xian'er's works for the competition, so he used this to make friends with Su Xian'er, and he really did not want to take too many risks alone. The other party's Susien series can make 3.6 million yuan, he is not afraid that the other party will not give it, and the other party has more shares, so he will always consider Bilibili. Otherwise, the 8% stake is indeed, as Susiener said, it is not as profitable as drawing books, and the comics are really popular. The weight of this 8% stake in the other party is indeed not very important. After all, the current situation of B Station can only be regarded as mediocre. Chen Shui, who was listening next to her, widened her eyes and looked at Susiener in disbelief. She had always thought that even if she made more money from drawing books, she would not be able to come to the stage. Now she has become famous. Since she is now Susiener's assistant, she has also learned about the comics industry. If she is not mistaken, this competition will start in a week, but Chen Rui does not even know what Susiener is going to draw, but he trusts the quality of Susiener's comics so much, which surprised Chen Shui. I agree, Susiener did not refuse. Susiener will not question whether Book of Life and Death adapted from A Little Notebook Falls from the Sky can be popular. This is a comic that was recognized in the previous life. It would be unreasonable if it is not popular. And if it is popular, then major animation production companies will definitely come to the door, especially Tencent Comics. However, since she decided to join Bilibili, she would naturally focus on Bilibili. The other party trusted her so much that he even paid for her first, which made her feel embarrassed. Since the other party wanted the animation production rights of Book of Life and Death, she would give it to him. Anyway, she would be a major shareholder in the future and would get a lot of money. Thinking of the beautiful life in the future, Susiener narrowed her eyes and was extremely happy. The chaotic life of the dead otaku who spent money on Krypton gold finally took the first official step today. Transformed into a comic book artist. Author, Miao by Shen Wu. Chapter 56. After everything was discussed, Susiener and Lin Jingshu signed the contract one after another. Seeing this, Chen Rui was completely relieved. And Susiener suddenly said, "Do you really want us to be station girls?" Chen Shui and Lin Jingshu were confused. Didn't they sign the contract? Did Susiener want to go back on her word? But Chen Rui looked at Susiener in surprise, and understood what she meant in an instant. He nodded firmly, this is also a helpless move. Now B Station has some excellent videos from Up Masters and the support of Baozu big events, so it can survive among the big video stations, but if no changes are made, it won't be long before B Station will be eliminated. Chen Rui understood what Susiener meant. The second dimension is the second dimension, and the third dimension is the third dimension. B Station is positioned as AK, that is, the second dimension circle. So if you design a station girl, it is very taboo to find a third dimension person to play the role of a station girl. The best result is to design a cartoon image and become a stand-up girl. After all, the appearance of the two-dimensional characters will never change, but the three-dimensional people will slowly grow old with the passage of time, so this decision is likely to become a failure in the future. This is also the reason why Susiener resists playing the role of a stand-up girl. When the three-dimensional and the two-dimensional are mixed, it becomes impure. As for cosplay, it is a way for people to express their love for anime characters, and it does not affect the fans' views on anime characters. If she and Lin Jingshu become stand-up girls, then their every move in the future will represent 22 and 33. But no one can be perfect, there will always be flaws, so if the reputation of the two of them affects 22 and 33, Susiener thinks it is better not to be one. This is also the reason why so many companies designed images in the past life and would not consider inviting celebrities to play, and even why Hatsune Miku appeared, there is also a reason in it. Because virtual characters represent immortality and purity, she is always perfect without any flaws. Before, I was actually worried whether this decision would be a failure. Now, you two, classmate Sue, have given me hope. In this world where appearance is everything, appearance is people's first impression of a person. Before Chen Rui met Susianur, he was also quite worried, because everyone has flaws, but after meeting Susianur, he knew that this move might be a great success. With the appearance of Susianur and Lin Jingshu, the chance of failure is almost zero. Seeing this, Susianur didn't say much. Anyway, she just said that. The other party was the chairman who thought more than her, and the contract had been signed, so 22 and 33 were set. Then Susianur said goodbye to Chen Rui and went downstairs. And when they were in the elevator, Lin Jingshu suddenly said, "Classmate Su, didn't you tell me that you draw martial arts comics?" When Chen Shui heard this, she took a step back and leaned against the elevator wall, consciously becoming a bystander. Susianur's body froze, and she sighed deeply at Lin Jingshu's embarrassed look. "Actually, my dream since childhood was to become a cartoonist, but when I grew up, I found that cartoons focus on spiritual entertainment. I wondered why cartoons can't give people both spiritual and physical pleasure, so, is this why you draw books?" Lin Jingshu said angrily. "You also asked me to wear that thing, is it just to draw it on and show it to others?" Lin Jingshu now remembered the first time Susianur said that it was not good to draw breasts, and she was still stupidly observing him. Now thinking about it, it's really shameful. And before, Susianur said that the male and female protagonists fought, and now recalling that posture is really crazy. Thinking of that scene, Lin Jingshu's face was as red as a tomato. "Jingshu, this is your contribution to mankind. Although no one will remember you, as a great cartoonist, I will definitely remember your goodness for the rest of my life." Susianur looked at Lin Jingshu sincerely, and almost patted her shoulder and said, "Little girl, I am optimistic about your future." "You three, we're here." The staff had been smiling and had not interrupted the two people's conversation, but now they had to interrupt. "I'll take care of you when I get home." Lin Jingshu glared at Susianur with hatred, and then followed the staff out of the elevator. When the three were taken to a room full of all kinds of costumes, their eyes lit up. This was obviously a room prepared for cosplay enthusiasts. Susianur saw a lot of clothes, but unlike the costumes of Japanese comics in her previous life, most of them were ancient Chinese costumes. Obviously, even if it was cosplay, the comic exhibition in this world was mainly martial arts fantasy, with a strong ancient charm. Of course, in addition to hanfu, zaifu, and armor, there are many exquisite clothes that are similar to those in the previous life. These clothes are costumes for some popular endgames or mobile games with popular IPs. For example, Miracle Nikki, although it is a Q version in this world, the gameplay is exactly the same, which has led to the popularity of this mobile game in China. Coupled with the cuteness of the Q version, girls are even more fond of this game. For example, Lin Jingshu. Seeing her running to the Miracle Nikki clothing cabinet with excitement and a loving look on her face, Susianur knew that this was indeed a paradise for cosplay enthusiasts. "You are the ones who are supposed to play the roles of 22 and 33, a middle-aged woman was brought over by the staff. Before she could finish her words, she saw Susianur looking around and stopped talking. Before the staff could formally introduce them, she came directly in front of Susianur, which scared her. "Don't move." Seeing Susianur retreating, the middle-aged woman held Susianur's shoulders. She was so strong that Susianur couldn't break free. The middle-aged woman shook Susianur's messy and fluffy hair towards her temples, and then Susianur's whole face was exposed in front of her. At this sight, the middle-aged woman's eyes were very bright, and she murmured, "Are you a little fairy?" Hearing this Black History-like name, Susianur was about to curse, but before she could say anything, she was picked up by the other party and came to the Miracle Nikki's clothing cabinet. When Lin Jingshu and Chen Shui were trying to hold back their laughter, the middle-aged woman took out one of the clothes and said, "Try this Minghe Jiying. Minghe Jiying is a set of Miracle Nikki's clothes with ink painting style. The overall color is plain white, and the pattern of the skirt is accompanied by branches and cranes. It is elegant and noble and has a great charm. With the embellishment of various accessories, this set of clothes is very popular. I'm here to play 22 or 33, not to be a doll. Susiener's face was dark, she was so angry that she couldn't resist anyone who wanted to hug her. This made her clearly realize that she was a weak person. You haven't discussed the role setting yet. I asked Xiao Wei to call Ning Yuan, so while you are free, try these clothes, and I can design which one you should wear later. Sister Shui, Xiao Wei said you were looking for me. As soon as he said that, he saw a young man peeking out of the door, and then he saw Sister Shui with a dark face staring at him fiercely, making him shrink his head. Sister Shui admitted defeat and put the clothes in the closet, then pointed at Susiener and Lin Jingshu and said, "These are the actors of 22 and 33, you can discuss here, I will go and change the size of their clothes." Apparently, in just 1 or 2 minutes, Sister Shui had figured out the figures of Susiener and Lin Jingshu. Seeing Sister Shui leave, Ning Yuan breathed a sigh of relief, then went in and tidied up the things on the table. After everyone sat down, he looked at the 3 people in amazement and said shyly, "It's like this, can you tell me your date of birth and your personality traits, which will be related to the setting of 2233 in the future?" I was born on June 16, 1999. I was born on August 16, 1999. After Lin Jingshu finished speaking, Susiener was suddenly stunned, and suddenly realized that this was not the birthday of 2233 and his mother in the previous life. It can't be so evil, right? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transformed into a comic book artist. Author, Miao by Sheng Wu. Chapter 57. After Ning Yuan recorded it, he raised his head and continued to ask, "What about your personality and living habits? Can you talk about this?" Although Susiener and Lin Jingshu are asked to play 22 and 33, it is best for the actors to fit the character of 2233. In other words, the design and settings after 2233 will be made around Susiener and Lin Jingshu. This is why Station B has always had plans, but has not yet designed them for 22 and 33, and even some backgrounds and even character settings have not been finalized. Because it is designed, it will give the audience a fixed impression. If you want to find a 3-dimensional person to play the station girl in the future, and it is an officially certified one, your personality and living habits must match their design. It's settled. Otherwise, the audience will definitely not be satisfied. When Susiener heard this question, she said seriously, "My living habit is to get up at 5 o'clock every morning to run and exercise, then eat breakfast steadily, never be late and leave early, have a positive and healthy attitude towards life, and do not touch snacks and junk food, attaches great importance to one's own attire, and is strict with self-discipline. He has a cheerful personality, is enthusiastic towards others, and is willing to help others, but he can be a bit reckless at times and is very contagious to the people around him." "Okay, don't talk anymore," Chen Shui interrupted Susiener directly, and then pulled Ning Yuan aside. Then Chen Shui gave Ning Yuan some science knowledge about Susiener's usual behavior and Lin Jingshu's character. The so-called personality habits are generally his own. It is invisible and only friends or outsiders can fully understand it. A few minutes later, Ning Yuan came over again, looked at Susiener with a strange expression, and coughed lightly. "I know the living habits and personality traits of the two of you. Now I will talk about the settings 22 and 33. If you are 22, you will be played by Mr. Su. You are 2 months older than Mr. Lin, and if you are 33, it will be Mr. Lin." Ning Yuan collected his thoughts and continued, "Previously we set 22 to be a sunny and energetic girl. But because of your character, Mr. Su, you obviously have to change it. So, 22 will be changed to a decadent and black-faced woman, who is usually lazy and decadent, very afraid of trouble, stays at home every day, doesn't groom herself all year round, and is usually careless. He is reckless, leaving things to his sister to do, and even teasing her when he has nothing to do. He is extremely sinister. However, he occasionally makes inventions and modifications on a whim, sometimes improving the player, etc. Of course, there are often bugs in the things he makes. It needs a second repair from my sister. And Sister 33 is said to be a machine girl, so there is no need to change this. As for the personality setting, it is gentle and quiet. Of course, due to the setting problem of the elder sister, the younger sister has to feed her back. Therefore, the younger sister is very good at maintaining the website server and manipulating the various programs of the website. She has an amazing amount of knowledge and memory. I also complain about my sister's recklessness, but despite this, I still like her very much in my heart. That's all I can think of now. If there are any more settings that need to be added in the future, I will let you know. What is your head made of? Susiener was shocked. The guy in front of him only learned about her and Lin Jingshu's personalities, and overturned the settings in his mind and reset them. The other two people also looked surprised. Although Ning Yuan is a young man, he is still very shy when being stared at by three beautiful girls. He said shyly, "These are just preliminary settings, and most of them are slightly adapted based on the personalities of the two of you, so it's nothing." As he spoke, he remembered something, took two pieces of paper from the side and handed them to Susiener and said, "This is the Q version of 2233. It was set before. The art team asked me to bring it over and ask you to make it a cartoon." To be honest, a few people were very surprised when they learned that Susiener was not only a pen, but also a wonderful pen. However, they were also told that Susiener's identity was not allowed to be revealed. After all, the current public's impression of the comic circle has not changed, and it is still a book world. If it is exposed, some people who don't like books may become fans. This is also the reason why Zhaojing is not in a hurry to publicize. Now publicity can obviously only win over a group of readers who like to read books. If Susiener becomes famous in this newcomer competition, then publicity can truly expand the comic industry. Reader. Susiener took the paper and looked at the 2233 on the screen. It was obviously the Q version, and said, "I'll give it to you in 2 days." At this time, Sister Shui also came back and said bluntly, "I have already told you that the clothes will be ready in 2 days." As he said that, he looked at Susiener with piercing eyes. "Before the clothes are ready, let's try on other clothes first." Susiener rolled her eyes. She and Jingshu had just handed over their body measurements. How could the clothes be made so quickly? So she ignored the other party and said goodbye to the two of them directly under the pitiful eyes of the other party. Then a week passed in a blink of an eye. During this week, Ning Yuan from Station B added some attributes to their identities, making 2233's character more full-bodied. Susiener was also urged to hand over the comic version of 2233. Susiener was speechless as she was urged. She could only hold her nose and draw the three-dimensional drawing of the comic version of 2233 in her previous life as quickly as possible, and then it received unanimous praise from the art department of Station B, and Chen Rui even wanted Susiener to be the head of the art department. Of course, Susiener naturally refused. Then there was the problem of clothing. Originally, the clothing was designed by Bilibili, but the colorful illustrations submitted by Susiener showed the clothes of 2233 in the previous life. This surprised Bilibili, and it cancelled the clothes plan that was previously planned, and then made the clothes based on the illustrations. So on the last day of September, Bilibili had not made the clothes for 2233. As for Susiener, she was addicted to PC games recently. As for what game it was? Fantasy Westward Journey has been operating for more than 10 years, and it hasn't closed down yet. When Chen Shui and Lin Jingshu cleaned up Susiener's room, Chen Shui looked at Susiener's screen and was speechless. Classic games are fun. Don't play too much. Starting next month, you will have to draw the stigmata of MiHoYo's characters every month. Don't forget. When Chen Shui said this, Susiener frowned slightly. Speaking of this, why do I feel like I forgot something? I've been restless since I got up. What did you forget? Do you have anything else to do? It's not about drawing the book, right? Lin Jingshu said disdainfully. When she went home a week ago, she went to see Susiener's book, and then she made a fuss for 2 or 3 days. Susiener coaxed her for a long time and finally promised that the girl next door would change her image and appear. Only then did Lin Jingshu's mood stabilize. Seeing this, Chen Shui also wanted to make a fuss, but Susiener ignored her. In her words, Chen Shui is now her assistant, that is, her person, so she can use her body however she wants, which made Chen Shui vomit blood. Bilibili is currently designing a new PC page and client. Your live broadcast is not yet up, so you don't need to consider what's happening at Bilibili right now. So there's only one thing left. The atmosphere was silent for a long time. Susiener and the other two looked at each other and said in unison, "Tomorrow's rookie comic competition officially begins." After Susiener finished speaking, she was stunned for a moment. She didn't care about the private chat with her game friends. She looked at Lin Jingshu and Chen Shui with despair. "I don't think I've drawn a single draft. Regarding Susiener smoking, I haven't written about Susiener smoking. She must have quit, but it's not written in the novel, my fault. As for being sloppy, it's because she's lazy and doesn't want to clean up her room. She's still very diligent in taking a bath, and she's unwilling to dress up, so she naturally gives people a sloppy feeling. The protagonist has this kind of personality, and it's impossible to change it. If she changes it, the book will collapse. And this book was written by the author because he was not satisfied with Gabriel, you know. Please recommend OVO. Transformed into a comic book artist. Author, Miao by Shen Wu. Chapter 58. It's over, what should I do, what should I do? It was the first time that Susiener was so anxious. If she followed her usual slow personality, she would probably get anxious when she knew it, and then when she saw that it was irreversible, she would shrink in front of the computer and continue to play games heartlessly. No competition was more important than her playing games. But this rookie competition was really too involved. This was the competition that Zhao Jing lent her 200,000 yuan and asked her to participate in. It was also one of the ways to get funds to win the first place and help her and pay off her debts. Finally, she had promised Chen Rui to participate in the rookie competition, and then make this comic famous, and then throw Book of Life and Death to be stationed to make it into an animation. Seeing Susiener looking at them eagerly, Chen Shui spread her hands, indicating that there was nothing she could do, and said helplessly, "What can I do? I am also desperate." "Don't worry, classmate Su, there will always be a way." It was the first time that Lin Jingshu saw Susiener anxious, but she had no choice but to comfort her first. After a long while, when the three of them stared at each other, Susiener gradually calmed down from her anxiety and returned to her normal state. Then she waved her hand, "You guys go buy groceries, I'm hungry. And my dungeon is about to start, let's do one first." Hey, you gave up treatment after just a few seconds." Chen Shui held her forehead with a defeated look. And Lin Jingshu was also speechless. "Think of a way, maybe there is a way to remedy it. Just now, 10,000 ways flashed through my mind, but in the end there was no way," Susiener said lazily, "so let's have fun while we can. Tomorrow's death is tomorrow's business. Let's play games today." Chen Shui and Lin Jingshu were helpless, but they couldn't think of a way. After all, they couldn't draw, and even if they found a few comic assistants to help each other draw, it would not be in time. In addition, it was already evening time, who would come to help in the middle of the night, so this was indeed a very desperate thing. While Chen Shui and Lin Jingshu went to buy groceries, Su Xian'er looked at the computer. The game was hanging automatically, and her eyes were blank. After thinking for a while, she clicked on the editor group of QQ, opened the chat box of the review editor, and then saw a lot of messages. Miobi, your color comic version of Suxian series episodes 1 and 2 were well received. Many readers strongly asked you to color the second episode and the third episode. Congratulations to Miobi, Suxian series has squeezed the saint out and is now the first. And the company has decided to combine the first and second episodes of Suxian series into a one-episode comic. Congratulations to the teacher on the big sales of the comic. Miobi, the editor-in-chief asked me to inform you that if you have the outline and story setting of Book of Life and Death, can you let the editors take a look? Please, teacher Miobi, please reply to me. The editor-in-chief and the others are waiting for your story outline. The Suxian series has been ranked first for a week. Everyone in the comics industry is shocked. Now, teacher Miobi, you are the top sister in the book industry. By the way, tomorrow is October 1st. If teacher Miobi finishes the first chapter, can you send it to the editors to see? There were 6 messages in total, and the last 2 were sent at noon today. Su Xian'er covered her face after reading them and touched the keyboard to reply, but after thinking about it, she decided not to. If the other party asked again after replying, how would she answer? Should she answer that she had not drawn a single manuscript? If she put herself in the other person's shoes, the other party would probably curse her. Thinking like this, Su Xian'er felt uncomfortable all over. Looking at the game on the computer, she sighed and decided not to play it for now. She would draw as many pictures as she could, so that she could feel at ease. When Chen Shui and Lin Jingshu came back from buying vegetables, they saw that Su Xian'er had already started working, and they did not disturb each other. After the meal was ready, Su Xian'er came out to eat, and then went back to work. October 1st, National Day, nearly 8 o'clock in the morning. In this world, although the founding year of China is different, the month and day are the same, so most companies and schools are on holiday. And for Tencent Comics, Yu Yaokai, Manhua Home and people in the comics industry, today is also a special day. The start of the national new manhua competition has made many people look forward to it. Even those cartoonists who have been famous for a long time are looking forward to how this new manhua competition will develop, especially the theme is still suspense and reasoning, which makes the cartoonists who were desperate before, hope rise again. Previously, there was Miobi, a rising star who created a new style of painting. I thought the first place would be directly determined, but I didn't expect the computer system to play a joke on them. And early in the morning, cartoonists and even readers of the Manhua Home Forum started to water. Although it's a mystery, I'm still looking forward to what Miobi will draw. No one in Tencent Comics has revealed it, it's too mysterious. Do you think Miobi will come up with a new style? After all, he has already created one. If he extends the style of his book, maybe it will be another style. I also wonder what style Miobi will use to draw this mystery, but the style of his book is definitely not good. Of course, it is most likely a muscle style. Don't worry, we will know in a few minutes. The competition platforms for the new comics competition are distributed on Tencent Comics and Yu Yaokai. In the past, if readers of Tencent Comics wanted to read Yu Yaokai's comics, they had to go to Yu Yaokai to register an account, but the works of the new comics competition did not need it. Because the works of the new manga competition can be seen on both manga websites, and they are in a relatively conspicuous position. As a forum, Manga Home will also provide everyone with the name and link of the manga, and the recommended position. Not only the people of Manga Home, but also the editors of Yu Yaokai and Tencent Comics, although they have a holiday today, still get up on time, mainly because they have been instructed by their superiors to review the first chapter of the participating cartoonists as soon as possible. Although they are not the main reviewers, they must also check. At this time, Zhao Jing got up early, went back to the study after breakfast, turned on the computer, and quietly waited for the first chapter of Susiener's Book of Life and Death. Susiener has not responded to Li Yuan's message in the past few days. It's not that he doesn't want to call Susiener to ask, but thinking that the other party is a senior high school student, the college entrance examination is only half a year away, and he still has to draw comics, so the remaining time must be used for study. Then calling him himself would obviously disturb others, and he still has confidence in Susiener, so he is more relieved. Xiao Wang, today is the first day of the new comics competition in the suburbs of the Magic City. Lu Qingyun performed a set of Tai Chi in the courtyard, exhaled a breath of turbid air, and then came to the studio to look at the empty space and smiled slightly. He gave the other comic assistants a holiday, but Xiao Wang was the one who had always followed him, so he stayed with him. Of course, I say Xiao Wang, but he is actually in his early 40s, but it's just a habit. Teacher, there are 2 minutes to 8 o'clock, and then you can see the works of this year's contestants. Lu Qingyun was invited to be the reviewer of the session, so he naturally needed to check these works and comics. Hearing this, he smiled and said, among them, I am more looking forward to Miyobi's work. I hope he can surprise me. Now Susiener may not know it herself, but she is already a godlike existence in the comics industry. With 2 episodes of Susien series, it is still the first in the sales list. Many people speculate whether the Saint will be suppressed by Susien series forever. People in the comics industry are also convinced, or perhaps they have no temper now. The 2-episode book has overwhelmed the cartoonists in the entire comics industry. It is really unacceptable. No matter how uncomfortable it is, it cannot change the fact that others have the ability. And this time, the newcomer competition of the orthodox comics is also the first step for Miyobi to enter the orthodox comics industry, so almost everyone in the comics industry wants to see whether Miyobi can gain a foothold in the orthodox comics industry. If the comics are of good quality, then Miyobi can be regarded as a real proof of the truth in the comics industry. If it is not good, perhaps the other party can only return to the book world to dominate. Lu Qingyun sat in front of the computer with glasses, while Xiao Wang sat next to him and browsed the web for Lu Qingyun with a mouse. Teacher, it's 8 o'clock. Most cartoonists should have uploaded their works, but it may be delayed for a few minutes. Let's wait. Lu Qingyun nodded. He was not used to using the computer, so Xiao Wang helped him. Xiao Wang knew that his teacher was very interested in Miyobi's comics, so he directly searched for Susiener's pen name, and then saw the 2 episodes of Susien series. What caught their eyes was that next to the Susien series, there was a comic book showing the first episode. The cover was a black notebook with 3 big characters Book of Life and Death written on it. Click on the cover and then directly click on the first episode. The style has changed. Lu Qingyun looked at the first page and became interested before reading the plot. He took a look and said, this style is very solid. However, 10 seconds later, the 2 were stunned. Lu Qingyun said with a smile, this wonderful writing is really nonsense. It's Monday, and this week's new book list can only stay for the last week. I want to rush down the list and see if I can get into the top 10. So I solemnly ask for recommendation votes, begging. Transformed into a comic book artist. Author, Miao by Shen Wu. Chapter 59. At 8 o'clock, Zhao Jing in the study took a sip of tea, and then couldn't wait to search for Susiener's pen name, and then clicked on the page of Book of Life and Death. When the first page appeared in front of him, Zhao Jing's eyes suddenly lit up. As an editor-in-chief, Zhao Jing was also a cartoonist in the early days. Naturally, he had a deep understanding of comics. He was the first to believe that the comic industry needed to change and 100 schools of thought. But he had been in this industry for more than 10 years, and he was almost desperate until the appearance of Myobi. And today, Susiener gave him another surprise. Different from the style of the book, the plot of the first page of Book of Life and Death has not been observed yet, and its style surprised him. This is another completely different style. Because the characters on the first half of the page are not human, Zhao Jing directly ignored them. Although the characters on the second half of the page are from a long perspective and appear small, Zhao Jing saw at first glance that the student with short hair, one hand supporting his chin, and looking out the window is the protagonist. The lines are strong and simple, showing a solid sense of the overall painting style. It is different from the book painting style of the Suxian series, but it is also amazing. Before the rookie competition started, many people were discussing whether Myobi would participate in the competition with the book painting style. Even Zhao Jing himself was worried, but now he was relieved. It is indeed Myobi, and the pioneering spirit is indeed strong, or the girl's creativity is relatively rich. Zhao Jing teased in his heart. After the painting style was identified, Zhao Jing began to watch the plot. The first page is divided into 2 pages, the upper half, marked with hell, and then Zhao Jing saw a dark back squatting on the slope, and below were several bored non-humans lying on the ground. Repeating the same boring things every day, boring. This narration is obviously the voice of this non-human back. The lower half of the page is the picture Zhao Jing just saw, and there is also a narration next to it. This world is decaying. These 2 very interesting words are indeed very attractive, but Zhao Jing frowned, because this competition is a suspense and reasoning, but if he guessed correctly, this dark back may be one of the 10 kings of hell, and should be one of the protagonists. Since it is just a myth, the image of the myth characters is not fixed, and the cartoonist can naturally show it according to his own imagination. But a suspense and reasoning comic, with myth characters? This is so inconsistent. Thinking of this, Zhao Jing sighed, just hoping that Susiener can control the plot well, and he will continue to read. However, when the mouse clicked, a prompt popped up. It's already the last page. What? Zhao Jing widened his eyes, clicked a few more times, and still got the same prompt, frowning, is there an error on the web page? Just when Zhao Jing wanted to call the technical department to ask the reason, Luoyang called. Myobi seems to have only drawn one picture and uploaded it after the call was connected. Luoyang's voice came over with extreme helplessness. Could it be that there is an error on the web page? I just called the technical department and they said that Myobi only uploaded one page and then there has been no movement. Hearing this, Zhao Jing was really shocked. He rubbed his forehead and found that the number of headaches he had before was not as many as this month. Myobi can't be so unreliable, right? That's the fact. I called you to call Myobi and ask what's going on. Okay, I'll ask. Zhao Jing knew that he had to call Susiener now. This kind of error happened at the beginning of the rookie comics competition. Only one page was drawn. As a result, before he could call, the editors-in-chief of the company took turns to call him and ask what happened. It is obvious that Myobi is highly valued by them. Now that such a thing has happened, they naturally have to call to ask clearly. Even Lu Qingyun called Zhao Jing to ask if there is an error on the web page. After responding one by one, nearly 10 minutes have passed. Zhao Jing took a deep breath and called Susiener directly. I'm sorry, I was wrong. As soon as the call was connected, Zhao Jing heard Susiener's soft voice before he started asking questions, and she took the initiative to admit her mistakes, which made him who wanted to question suddenly not know how to start. He sighed. After all, she was still a 17-year-old child, especially such a beautiful girl. She might be more delicate. It was not easy for the other party to take the initiative to admit her mistakes. Thinking of this, Zhao Jing could only hold back a sentence, Mr. Myobi, can you tell me the reason? There is only half a year left before the college entrance examination, Susiener said timidly. The third year of high school has started. Evening self-study. The heavy schoolwork every day has no time to draw comics. I didn't want to participate in the rookie competition before because of this. I didn't have much time. But don't worry, I promised you that I would continue to draw. During the National Day holiday, I will guarantee to draw 2 or 3 pages every day, but can I change pages in the future? Hearing this, Zhao Jing suddenly woke up. Yes, Susiener is a third-year student. Zhao Jing knows this, but he obviously overlooked the busyness of the third-year student's studies, which is like hell. Drawing comics is a long-term job. Susiener is not a good person, and she has to study. She has to do exams almost every day and attend classes during the day. She must be very tired at night, but she still has to draw comics. In this situation, an adult can't stand it, let alone a little girl. And if Susiener puts her energy into comics, then the other party's academic performance will decline, which is putting the cart before the horse. Although the other party will have no worries about food and drink for the rest of his life by drawing books, the importance of the college entrance examination occupies a very important position in the hearts of Chinese people. If the other party's parents know about it, will they order the other party to give up painting? However, it is a pity that the other party can think of such a fantasy thing as page update. Zhao Jing is helpless, but he knows that this is probably the other party's limit. Thinking of this, Zhao Jing's mood is much relieved, and his tone is comforting. Mr. Miyobi, I was distracted. I almost forgot the miserable life of our Chinese college entrance examination candidates. How about this, since you have released the first page of the first episode, then follow your meaning to update the page. I will ask the technical department to issue a notice to explain it to you later. But even if it is a page update, during the National Day holiday, Mr. Miyobi, you have to be diligent. At least the first episode should be drawn quickly, right? Susiener sat in front of the computer. Hearing what Zhao Jing said, she breathed a sigh of relief and waved her little fist. She knew she succeeded. In fact, according to her idea yesterday, she should just learn from Togashi and hand in the draft directly. Then she found that it was too late even if it was a draft, because the first chapter of Book of Life and Death has more than 40 pages, and she has been forced by Lin Jingshu to adjust the time difference. After all, she has to go to class again after the National Day holiday. Now she is very sleepy after 10 o'clock in the evening, and gets up at 5 or 6 in the morning, which is very normal. Of course, she believes that it won't be long before she will be in a mess again. After all, this is the self-knowledge of adjusting countless time differences in the previous life. So she thought, why not draw a page first and hand it in, then take the initiative to admit her mistakes, have a good attitude, and speak softly. Maybe she will be forgiven. Of course, there must be a very reasonable reason, and then tell the idea of updating the page. After all, if she said that she forgot about this competition, the other party would probably be very disappointed or upset, so she could only lie. What she didn't expect was that Zhao Jing would be so considerate and directly agreed to let her update the page. Don't worry, although the National Day holiday is only 3 days, I will try to be more diligent. Susiener expressed her understanding. After all, it was a rookie competition. Others released 1 chapter, but you just released 1 page? This is too unreasonable. Please recommend. Thanks to a certain unscientific red and white for becoming an elder. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transformed into a comic book artist. Author, Miao by Shen Wu. Chapter 60. 6666666. The old lady won't help you, so she just obeys Miyobi. Is Miyobi going to start the era of page updates? Afraid JPG. Not to mention anything else, This style of painting makes me feel like spring is coming in the orthodox comics world. I would like to thank my wonderful pen for once again creating a style of painting that gives hope to us, street-loving cartoonists, to rise. When 8 o'clock arrived, not only Zhao Jing and the others were looking forward to Susienner's comics, but everyone else in the comics industry was also eager to see what kind of comics Miyobi would draw. It is undeniable that the painting style on the first page of Book of Life and Death really shocked them again. This time the painting style is highly applicable. Some senior cartoonists' eyes were brightened. They found that this solid painting style is suitable for it is very broad and can be applied to many subjects. Unlike the painting style of Susien series, it is only suitable for books and pure love. But when most people browse the first page and want to scroll down, they are prompted that this is the last page, which instantly makes them confused. I thought there was something wrong with the website. After all, many cartoonists would upload their comics at 8:11, which might cause the website to go wrong. But 10 minutes later, some people even asked customer service for feedback, but were told that everything was normal. In addition, the Book of Life and Death that was updated simultaneously with Yuki was also a page. They were all shocked for a moment. Is this a page update? Suddenly the comics house became lively. The wonderful pen not only creates a new style of painting again, but also brings about a new era in the comics industry. Originally, the top 20 or 30 cartoonists in the cartoon industry are making money. If one page is updated every day, the cartoonists will drink the northwest wind. By the way, what the hell is this Book of Life and Death? Isn't this urban immortality? Didn't the wonderful writing clearly understand the subject matter? If you just read the comics without looking at the subject matter, the first page will make you want to continue reading. The King of Hell expressed boredom, and the protagonist also expressed that the world is corrupting. It is obvious that these two protagonists will have a collision. It is a pity. Just one page. The subject matter is also very vague, but this is obviously not a suspense mystery, right? Will the King of Hell appear in your suspense mystery? This is the first time I have met a cartoonist who posted a page in a newcomer competition. If nothing else, I admire the courage of his wonderful pen. In an instant, the reviewer's impression score dropped to negative. Tencent Animation has made an announcement about Miyobi. While everyone was discussing, one person shouted, and then everyone clicked on the Tencent Animation page and saw the bright red word announcement. Explanation on the background update issue on the first day of the cartoonist Miyobi rookie competition. Tencent Animation editor-in-chief Zhao Jing called Miyobi 10 minutes ago and learned that Miyobi was a 17-year-old college entrance examination student. He was usually busy with studies and had no choice but to be divided. Page updates. Editor-in-chief Zhao Jingsui called the reviewers respectively to express his understanding and encourage Miyobi to put academics first and not to put the cart before the horse, so Miyobi pages are allowed to be updated, Tencent Animation official hereby notifies. This piece of news shocked all the cartoonists sitting in front of the computer. Wonderful touch, 17 years old. High school students. Is this a humming joke? 17 years old. Damn, I am 16 this year, which means that the magic pen was born in 1999. If I were born 1 year later, I would be born after 2000. Looking at my mature face in the mirror, I feel like I'm living like a dog. The book world was actually saved by a 17-year-old boy. Not only the comic book world, but once the style of Book of Life and Death appeared, it felt like the orthodox comic book world was going to be saved as well. The Susien series could not be written by Miao Bai to vent his desires. After all, adolescent boys devote their youth to their lower bodies. So, the page update era was started by a 17-year-old high school student. This news immediately set off a wave of craze, and the Susien series became very popular. From Lin Swecken's Rhythm to the present, countless cartoonists and orthodox cartoonists have gone to study why the Susien series is so successful. And now the Susien series has been thoroughly studied. The painting style is pleasant, the story is direct, and the battles are straightforward and confront the theme. The two female protagonists have different attributes. The female delivery girl is physically mature, while the girl next door is relatively green. This is the feeling that Susien series gives to cartoonists. Some people even said that the people who read the book belong to teenagers and young adults, so they don't like the complicated book at all. Myobi is very clever in the selection of the heroine's clothing. The female combat uniform can stimulate the viewer's desire to fight. Coupled with the various postures, it is really unforgettable. This is the main reason why Susien series is so popular. But now that they learned that Myobi was a 17-year-old boy, everyone could only sigh. Sure enough, only people of the same age can understand what people of the same age want. I'm really convinced this time, and Tencent Animation is too biased towards Myobi. Even if the update is just a joke, is it really possible to update the page? The newcomer competition is not a child's play. If you can reach the height of Myobi, you can write half a page. There's nothing we can do about it, because since the beginning of comics, cartoonists have been updating one chapter every week, and there is no such thing as updating one page a day. But there is no one who stipulates that pages cannot be updated. That is to say, there is no such rule, so Myobi can't be considered a violation. So the review team probably has no choice but to hold their noses and admit it. If there are other high school students like Myobi who can find time to draw comics, I'm worried about his academic performance. Indeed, although Susiener's update is speechless, there is no rule in the comics industry that no update is allowed, so there is no such rule at all. As a result, who would have thought that Myobi would have updated his work? There is no rule in the rookie competition that prohibits updating. I guess those who participated in the competition can also be thankful. With Myobi's update, it is impossible for him to get the top 3, let alone the first place. I still doubt whether Myobi has studied too much and got the wrong subject matter for the competition, and drew a book of life and death of an urban immortal. Today, I'm leaving it here. If there is no internal decision, Myobi can get the first place in the rookie competition. I will eat food live, 300 tons, with big mouthfuls. No ambiguity. Just take a screenshot. Seeing this sentence, everyone smiled knowingly and cursed secretly. In this case, Myobi can get the first place, which is really weird. The subject matter is vague, and no one knows whether the other party is drawing an urban immortal or a suspenseful reasoning. Daily comics would probably leave a bad impression on the reviewers, and the story would progress very slowly. Who knows when it will take to finish? With these factors combined, even if the style is pleasing, it is impossible to get the top 3, let alone the first place. The most important thing is that there is a demonic Qiao Mo and the combination of Zhenyi and Lu Ping. Under this situation, Myobi still wants to get the first place. It's just a foolish dream. Myobi is afraid that Shui Shui will overturn. Whether Shui Shui will overturn or not, Susiener doesn't know. But she knows that she can't rest during this national day. After hanging up Zhao Jing's phone, Susiener looked miserable. Fantasy, Collapse 2, Nuanuan, Fairyland, it seems that I can't touch you these days. Looking at the many terminal games on the computer and the mobile games in the simulator, Susiener sighed. Just when she was about to start to continue to rush the manuscript, Chen Rui called. Student Su, the new page of the B Station PC and the revised client will be online at 12 noon, and you can live broadcast then. Okay, Susiener responded listlessly. Anyway, live broadcast only needs a camera, and then she can draw. Chen Rui did not hear Susiener's emotions. To be honest, he was a little emotional. After all, this is the first step of the B Station plan. Whether it will succeed depends on the feedback from the audience at noon. But suddenly thinking of something, Chen Rui said, by the way, classmate Su, Are you really not sure about being the director of the art department? You don't need to come to the company, just open a live broadcast on the company's internal network to teach them. I don't have time. Susiener was about to refuse, but suddenly she thought of something and her eyes lit up. Are the people in the art department idle now? It's true that they are idle now, but when they wait for the audience to give feedback in the evening, they will have to modify the website page according to the feedback tomorrow. Susiener coughed lightly and said seriously, as a major shareholder and a member of Bilibili, I think it is necessary to give them a good lesson. Let them prepare well. I will go to the company to give them a good lesson at noon today. Let them look forward to it. Really, Chen Rui was surprised. Now cartoonists can't stop talking about their wonderful writing every 3 sentences on the internet, which shows how famous Susiener is in the comics industry now. Of course it's true, Susiener didn't wait for the other party to continue speaking, and said bluntly, okay, I still have to draw comics in the morning, so I won't say much. See you at noon. Monday 2300 hours, Gabriel updated and rose from the coffin. Ask for recommendation votes OVO. Transformed into a comic book artist. Author, Miao by Shen Wu. Chapter 61. When a person wants to be lazy, he will do anything and his mind is extremely bright, and Susiener is such a person. After hanging up the phone from Chen Rui, Susiener was gearing up. She planned to spend the whole morning quickly drawing the draft of the first episode of the Book of Life and Death, and then go to Station B to give lectures to the artists. As for what to do what? Susiener smiled slyly. Without further ado, Susiener felt motivated for the first time. The comic Book of Life and Death is adapted from a little book dropped from the sky. Of course, it is said to be an adaptation, but in fact, the setting, background and ending have been changed. As for the 2 main characters, Yeshinayu and L, there is no need to change it. If you look at it alone, Yeshinayu is also consistent with the Chinese name. L is just a code name. From the previous life until L's death, Susiener didn't know what L's name was, so it needs to be changed. The most important thing is to adapt to the Chinese background, and some place names and people's names need to be modified into Chinese style. Moreover, as China is the largest country today, it is not suitable for her to write about the god of death. If the king of hell doesn't draw it, how about you draw the god of death? In order to avoid some trouble in the future, Susiener naturally had to take all of these into consideration when painting. The first half of A Little Book Falls from the Sky is known as a showdown at the peak of IQ in suspense comics. Unfortunately, she was banned in the country in her previous life, so she doesn't know if she will be banned in this world, but she used it to participate in this. The rookie competition was more than enough, and she even felt that it was overkill. Little Book has 3 endings, a comic, a TV animation and a live-action movie ending. What Susiener wants to draw is the ending of a live-action movie. There is no doubt that the live-action movie adapted from Little Book was very popular in the island country in the previous life, and not many people criticized the ending. As for comics, in one sentence, the first half is shaping the classics, while the second half is destroying the classics. In the plot after L's death, Obathrush and Obata Takeru obviously used all their IQs to shape the showdown between L and Yagami Light, resulting in insufficient IQs in the second half of the manga. There is a fundamental difference between the endings of the manga and the movie. In the manga, Light Yagami wins, but in the movie adaptation, L wins. So Susiener planned to focus on the ending of the movie and cut the second half of the plot in the Little Book comic and not draw it at all. You must know that the movie adapted from Little Book directly made Matsuyama Kenichi, who played L, famous from an unknown person. It is enough to witness that the ending of the movie is very popular. While thinking about it, Susiener started writing like a master, but it was just a rough draft anyway, so fast. During this period, Chen Shui and Lin Jingshu came in and asked her if she wanted to go shopping. Susiener looked at her with disgust, If you don't want to go shopping on Dobeo, why don't you go shopping? It's so hot outside, you guys are poisonous. Chen Shui and Lin Jingxia rolled their eyes when they heard this. Then they looked at the hand-drawn board on the table and knew that the other party couldn't leave, so they said goodbye to Susiener and went shopping. Seeing this, Susiener continued to be immersed in the joy of painting. 11 o'clock at noon, multimedia classroom on the third floor of the Magic City B Station Company. I'm a little excited that teacher Miyobi will come to teach us. The chairman's connections are too wide. Why did I hear that it seems to be a water pen? How is the battle situation on Reach? The pen is the wonderful pen, and the wonderful pen is our Station B station girl, a high school student who plays the role of 22. I heard she is also a beautiful girl. It's been a week, and your news is too late. There were not too many members of the art department at Station B, only a dozen or so, both men and women. At this time, everyone tacitly found a seat near the front and sat down. This is not a university, and they are not college students, thinking about skipping classes all day long. As members of the art department, they are very curious about knowledge. The painting style of the early comics industry was deeply influenced by those who studied painting, which led to the deviation of the painting style in this world. But now that Susiener has come to this world, she wants to correct the style of painting, and then let cartoonists recreate and extend the style of painting. This is not just what Susiener thinks. Mihoyo also wanted Susiener to go to class, and Station B Chen Rui also thought so. With the lectures of Susiener, the person who pioneered the painting style, they will naturally be able to avoid a lot of mistakes, so now the people in the art department are looking forward to Susiener's teachings. While everyone was discussing and looking forward to it, Chen Rui knocked on the door, stood outside the door and coughed. When everyone looked over, he said bluntly, "Your teacher Su is already on the way. Let me tell you first, wake up, she is only 17 years old, and she is still a girl. It is probably her first time in class, so she may be a bit unfamiliar. You'd better listen quietly and don't get too jumpy. You must listen to what she says. I'll take it very seriously. And she's still the majority shareholder of Station B, and she's still acting as Station 22's mother, so she's considered your colleague, so don't neglect her." As a pure ACK website, Bilibili's employees are more or less ACK enthusiasts who join this company, so everyone's hobbies are basically similar, and they usually get along very harmoniously. Although there are some minor conflicts at ordinary times, but there is no intrigue like that of big companies. Therefore, the atmosphere at Station B is quite good, and people are relatively casual when talking and doing things. This is why Susiener wanted to join this company in her previous life. Don't worry, Chairman. My daughter is already 10 years old. I know how to coax little girls. If they dare to make trouble, I will remember it and report it to you. A middle-aged man in his 40s heard this and smiled and asked, "By the way, is the person here really Miyobi? I remember she seems to be a book illustrator." Speaking of this, everyone present looked strange. A girl who draws books always feels strange and subtle. Chen Rui also looked strange when he heard this, but after thinking about it, he said, "Don't ask too much about this, and don't look at people with strange eyes. Learn Miyobi's painting style well. In the future, animation production will rely on you to draw models." Everyone expressed their understanding. While Chen Rui was warning everyone, Susiener had already taken a taxi to the door of the B Station Company. After entering the door, she first ran to the air conditioner to enjoy it. "Susiener." Hearing the voice, Susiener's body stiffened, and she turned to look at Xiaoqin, whose eyes were shining. Seeing that the other party was about to come over, she stretched out her hand. "Stop. Which floor is the art department on?" "The third floor," Xiaoqin responded subconsciously, and then saw Susiener trotting directly into the elevator. "Do you have to be so afraid of me?" Xiaoqin didn't know whether to laugh or cry, and then went to the front desk to inform Chen Rui that Susiener had arrived. When Susiener was taken to the multimedia classroom on the third floor by Chen Rui, Susiener saw more than a dozen artists sitting in their seats as soon as she entered the door. Are they the people I want to teach? Susiener frowned slightly. There are too few people. Chen Rui smiled bitterly. In fact, there are quite a lot of people. If the animation production team hadn't been established before, there would probably be even fewer. As he said this, Chen Rui looked at everyone who was in shock, and couldn't help but feel helpless. Indeed, these artists didn't know what Susiener looked like. When he first saw Susiener, it took him a long time to react. "Old Yang, come here." Hearing the voice, the middle-aged man came to the door. After all, he was a father. Although he was shocked by Susiener's cuteness, he still reacted quickly. "This is Yang Shen, the director of the art department. If you have any questions for the art staff, you can ask him." "Okay, also, can I call some more people to attend the class?" Susiener blinked. She felt that more than a dozen people were too few. Chen Rui was stunned for a moment, and then decisively responded, "Okay." Susiener then made a phone call. Half an hour later, when MiHoYo's 20 artists appeared in groups at the door of Bilibili, Xiaoqin hurriedly called to notify them. 10 minutes later, Susiener stood in front of the podium, looking at the more than 30 artists below, and nodded with satisfaction. However, what she didn't know was that MiHoYo and Bilibili's artists were still in a daze when they saw Susiener.